Hello, Mr. Knight.
Good morning.
Hello there, my name's Paula Mullen from Adobe Corporation.
Good to meet you. Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Great.
Oh, it's terrible weather we're having now. It started raining, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, after all the lovely sun we've been having as well.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Right, so as I said, I'm here from Adobe Corporation. I was speaking with your colleague, Dr. Reckenworth, yesterday. I was telling about our new software. So that's the Adobe Connect Pro software, which is e-learning, remote access e-learning software. So he said the next step to getting it implemented at the university would be to discuss the kind of more IT side of the product with yourself.
Yeah.
So he seemed quite keen on it. So I've described the product having things like that, and I was just wondering, first of all, if I could ask you a couple of questions, just for what sort of just the sort of things you'd be looking for to implement at the university.
Hang on just a second. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So what sort of IT software are you possibly looking to implement at the moment? Have you any in mind, or? Well,
I guess, I know you talked with Dean Reckenworth, and I think you presented to the Council of Deans and
Yeah.
kind of given them a demonstration of what your product does. I'm not overly familiar with it. I've got a group that's looking into the various options we have, but to kind of get back to where we're wanting to do, or what we're wanting to do with it, we're basically, I'm being charged with taking on the responsibility of either helping decide on something that's either off-site, that's going to be managed or hosted,
Yeah.
or bringing something in-house. There's a couple of things around that I'm having difficulty with, but the main thing we're looking to do is improve student achievement with the utilization of technology, which myself and Dean Reckenworth don't think that there's nearly enough of that going on at this institution. In making those evaluations, part of the reason we're having you here today is we want to talk about, okay, with Adobe, I know in the past we've had some issues with support. In particular, Dr. Brongiel is not overly satisfied with the experience he initially had with Connect. So, some of those issues are what I wanted to discuss with you as far as addressable issues. Are y'all seeing pretty good use with it now? I mean, could you kind of explain to me a little bit more about, what the intended purpose of Connect is? I mean, is it a multiple platform?
Yeah, with Connect Pro, the idea is that it's mostly for distance learning. Well, it's most beneficial for distance learning, but students who are on campus can use it as well. So the idea would be you can record your lectures and it all gets uploaded. There's like PowerPoint, a whiteboard facilities, interactive discussion areas and things like that. So if, for example, a student was unable to make a lecture, Dr. Reckenworth had mentioned that you have a lot of students who are doing part-time jobs as well. So if they couldn't make a lecture, then they're able to access the lecture on our software and they'll receive the exact same level of education as what they would have been receiving if they were in the class. So, which is also the same for the students who are off campus. If they're accessing it from a remote point, they're still going to receive the same standard of curriculum which they would be achieving if they were here. So you did say that you had one of your colleagues who'd used Connect before and they hadn't been satisfied. Do you know what the reasons were for this? Did they?
I think they had some initial audio issues and some stuff like that. I'm not real sure what it was, but part of what we're making sure that we want to do, we want to make sure we have something that will enable us to use a single platform across campus. I've got issues now with, I've got different departments that are basically using anything that you can think of that's either open source or there are other products that compete in your same arena. Some of them, we had evaluated WebEx a little bit. The group that did that was like, hey, we like the product, but we're not really satisfied with the price point that it comes in at, so it didn't really serve the purpose as a campus-wide offering. There's people using DimDim, Illuminate in some classes, so there's kind of there's a little bit of
a lot of options.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of options across campus, and we unfortunately, as the IT group, spend most of our time at the help desk answering questions for those in a non-uniform manner. So, I'm really looking to get something that is uniform across campus that performs all of the functionality that we need, both from a collaborative standpoint, from an e-course and distance learning standpoint. As the IT administrator here, I want to make sure that what we're offering is best of breed when it comes to distance learning. Because part of what we're wanting to do is we want to make sure that we obtain and retain outside global students, local students at a distance. We want to make sure we're bringing those people into our college, and we'd like to see a 25% increase in enrollment in our e-courses. If I get that level of uptake at the departmental level, then I have the ability and the funds at that point to support enterprise-wide push for eCourse to help get us to where we want to be in the rankings. But without a good enterprise quality product to deliver those attributes, then it's going to be very difficult for us to implement something like that with the budget cuts that we're facing.
Yeah, well, with Adobe Connect Pro, there's the three main benefits of it is the security, the speed, and the reliability of the product. The US Department of Defence actually use Adobe Connect Pro software because, which is obviously in accrediting to how it's a secure network and things like that. It's a high-speed internet connection. It's very easy to use. It's obviously run through the Adobe Reader, which is on 98% of computers already. So all you have to do is download an add-on. Adobe comes installed on all new computers anyway. So you just have to download this add-on, and then you're able to use the software. As we do have maintenance and support with with the different kind of pricing packages we offer, there is maintenance support included in those. But there are online demonstrations of how to set up and use the software, which is very easy for both your professors when they're uploading content and for your students when they're accessing it. Personally, myself, when I first used it, it would take me a maximum of 30 minutes to become competent using the software. Just kind of following our step-by-step guides for it, which are all available online. We could get you any literature as well if you're wanting kind of visual aid for people, just additional support or anything. But you'd said that with WebEx then their price package hadn't been suitable. Can I ask what sort of price range that was, or what sort of the number of people that would have been serving?
Well, it was a departmental use that they were doing, so it wasn't something we were looking at on a large scale. And the department at the time was trying to do something on their own, which is something that I'm opposed to. I think that all of those issues should be handled by us after we've done proper analysis at an IT level, because we know the infrastructure, we know what the capabilities are. And we've met some resistance with that, but we want to make sure that we're offering the best thing to everybody across campus, because ultimately overall achievement of the university is what we're focused on. I guess one of the other benefits, Dr. Reckenworth has said that y'all have availability to. You got a pretty intuitive interface. I mean, it's really pretty easy to use. We've got a lot of the help desk calls that I get now are from people that run from one end to the other from the technical acumen spectrum. Some of them don't know how to do anything with it, and they're constantly calling my help desk and causing issues there. Others are pretty forward thinking, and probably the ones that we would look to kind of drive the eCourse revolution we're looking to do. So it's good to know that there's an intuitive piece there and that it works properly. The other thing is that we're facing some budget cuts, and I'm pretty restricted with regard to the resources I have. So I guess with regard to how that's used, I obviously can't make any huge changes in what we're doing, but as far as implementing that, is that something we would be able to implement inside of our firewall, or is it something that would be hosted as an offering from y'all?
You would be able to use it within the software you already have at the university. As I said, there shouldn't be any problems with firewalls with regards to it. It is very secure, but there won't. You wouldn't have a problem getting it on your own computers or interacting your campus computers or people trying to access it. There shouldn't be any problems with things like that. So do you have any sort of idea of the kind of target number of students you would like to be using the software, initially?
I think initially some of the departments that we had talked to, I don't know that they've given us any numbers yet. They all know that it's something that they're going to need to do to expand our capabilities and grow enrollment. So I really don't have any figures on that yet, but we definitely would want to start off at a little bit of a smaller scale and kind of see if it truly is the enterprise quality product that you're talking about.
Right, no problem.
But we want that to be in conjunction with my group and ITS.
Right, no problem at all.
So I got another quick question for you. Dr. Reckenworth had made mention of y'all's availabilities with regard to e-portfolio development.
Sorry, what exactly do you mean?
The e-portfolios. You said y'all have a uniform e-portfolio format with the Adobe software, with Acrobat.
Yeah, well, when you're using the software, initially you can upload your own presentations and things like that. It's it works very easily with the kind of Microsoft or whatever your presentations are on. That would upload straight away, and it'll come the way that it is on Microsoft Word. And then you can set a default. So the first time you use it, you'll spend a wee bit longer designing it all. Then you could set that as your default, which would come up all the time. So it would be in the format that you would prefer. So obviously, if different people prefer to kind of edit it slightly, they can do that. Like the professors, editing the content, but you can set a default, which is very easy. You wouldn't have to kind of reset it up every time. It's not as if it would go back to its original thing. So if you wanted it to kind of be like uniform across all the departments, so it's kind of like your university's, your style, if you like, it could be like that. There are a couple of other universities that do use this as like a very popular product. Like Washington and Michigan State University, they both use this, and they've not had any problems with it. They found it very easy to integrate, and the students and the faculty members have found it very beneficial and kind of got to grips with the software extremely quickly.
Well, I guess the final thing I've got for you is that one of the things that we find that our students are exiting the university with is a bit of a lack of ability to use some of the commercial quality products that are out there. Mm-hmm. Their technical acumen when they leave is not really what it needs to be based on some of the feedback we're getting from people that are doing hiring from within the institution and hiring our students. So, the other thing we want to make sure that we're delivering is something that's being used widely in the commercial industry. So I guess kind of tell me a little bit more about what Adobe's place is out in the open market or the commercial market.
Well, as I say, it's used like quite widely with universities. Obviously, as like an e-learning kind of base, it's most beneficial to universities as well. I've not got the exact details in front of me of businesses that do use it.
But for the most part, is Connect used pretty widely commercially?
Yeah, well, obviously
I know it's DoD, they use it governmentally, but do they use it widely in commercial industries as well?
Yeah, it's used for, as I say, it's a standard on all computers just to have the Adobe Reader in general. So obviously, if it's 98% of computers, well, it's 98% because maybe the older ones don't have it, but all new computers today have the software on it already, which clearly shows it is like a kind of widely used like standard to for it to be expected to be on computers. The Adobe is kind of building up and more people are getting to use it every day. I could come back with the actual list of the commercial companies who are involved with using it.
But they're using the same product that we're using.
It's the same one that's getting used.
It's not a boiled down version of it.
No, they wouldn't have, like, if your students are leaving, they wouldn't have any difficulties at all. It would be the exact same thing. They'd be at advantage because they would have been kind of seen both sides of it. They've got the interactive side of it they'd be experiencing as a student. So then if they were going into the business world and perhaps been using it where they're uploading content, they'll already have like first-hand knowledge of how it's going to come across when it's delivered.
Okay.
So what would be the next step then to implement this at the university? Is the purchasing decision with yourself, or do you need to report back again to Dr. Reckenmeyer?
Well, from a technical standpoint, the technical piece is well within my realm of decision-making ability, but I do need to basically, we would probably want to have a follow-on discussion with Dr. Brondale, who's basically, he's the Associate Dean of Graduate Studies.
No problem. So would I be able to arrange an appointment then so I could meet with him as well? Would you be like there with that appointment as well, or do you...
Yeah, I mean, I think it would probably be good for me to be there just because he has not had the greatest experience in the past with Connect, so I would want to kind of make sure that you don't get in trouble with him.
Yeah.
That may have just been a single instance where he had difficulty with it. It may be something you need to talk to, but you definitely need to be prepared to address whatever issues he might have experienced with that.
Yeah, well, as I can bring demonstrate either literature, or I could bring like the computer so I could demonstrate it for him. He can maybe have a play about with it just so he could maybe feel comfortable and like experience firsthand the benefits of our product, as it has had a more negative experience with it.
Okay, no, that sounds good. Well, I'll try to arrange that, and like I say, if you'll check with the secretary on the way out and just let her know what your availability is for next week.
No problem.
We'll try to find some time with me as well as Dr. Brondale to get you in to see him, and you can kind of tell him what your proposal is there with regard to tell him you've got buy-in with Dr. Reckenworth and the council, and they've got professors that are ready to do it. I think from an IT perspective, we got a few more things we need to investigate as far as whether it's something we would want to have in-house or we would have you host, depending on what our financial situation is, and the ultimate decision will probably be up to him, though. Yeah,
no problem. Could I take your email address at all, and I can just just forward you a kind of trial version of our software, just so you can have a wee play about with it and see if just you can experience firsthand. So if we are going to speak to your colleague, who'll...
So if you want to, like I said, you can follow up with me here, got a couple of them. That's my email address there. Anything correspondence need to go to that email address.
That's excellent. So as I say, I'll forward you a trial version of it this evening, just so you can have a chance to use the software as well. Okay then. Thank you very much for your time then, Mr. Nance.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right.